And now the class of 2025. One of the most exciting players of the 1970s, winning the National League MVP in 1978, All-Star MVP honors in 1979, a 7-time All-Star. He helped lead the 1979 Pirates and the 1989 A's to World Series titles. He was with us in December when he got the news that this day was coming. He passed away just last month. He is represented by his son, David Parker II. Let us welcome him to the stage, and let's hear it for the Cobra Hall of Famer, Dave Parker. For over a decade, in a low run scoring era, he would slug .554, second only to Henry Aaron in that span. The National League Rookie of the Year in 1964, he would lead his league in home runs, park-adjusted OPS twice. An outstanding slugger and base runner, he would particularly excel in 1972, leading the American League in homers, RBIs, on base, and slugging, winning the American League MVP while with the Chicago White Sox. Please welcome to the stage his widow, Willa Allen, and let's hear it for Hall of Famer Dick Allen. In 2007, he would win the American League Cy Young Award for Cleveland. In 2008, he'd lead Milwaukee to the playoffs with stretch run heroics that featured his last 3 starts on short rest. In 2009, he'd pitched 5 postseason games, 2 of the last 3 on short rest, all to a sub-2 ERA, leading the New York Yankees to their most recent World Series championship. Please welcome, from the class of 2025, Hall of Famer CC Sabathia. A 5'10" right-hander who learned how to throw left-handed and 100 miles per hour. A flame-throwing reliever, he'd make 7 All-Star teams with the Astros, Mets, Phillies, and Braves. He is number 2 all-time in park-adjusted ERA, behind only Mariano Rivera, and retired with the highest number 1 strikeout percentage in Major League history. Please welcome Hall of Famer Billy Wagner. He debuted in the United States as the American League Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player in 2001. In his first 10 years in the major leagues, he averaged 224 hits per season, peaking with the all-time single-season record of 262 in 2004. Despite reaching the U.S. major leagues at the age of 27, he would become the 30th player in big league history to reach the revered 3,000-hit milestone. A terrific all-around player, winner of 10 Gold Gloves, he is the first Japanese-born player to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Please welcome Hall of Famer Ichiro Suzuki.
As chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor, Billy, to welcome you into the Hall of Fame family and to ask Commissioner Manfred to read the inscription on your plaque.
William Edward Wagner, Billy. Houston, National League, 1995 through 2003. Philadelphia National League, 2004 through 2005. New York National League, 2006 to 2009. Boston American League, 2009. Atlanta National League, 2010. Fireballing lefty closer, limited base runners, as well as any pitcher in history. Ushered in new era of bullpen dominance, striking out 1/3 of batters faced across 16-year career. 7-time All-Star, recorded 7 seasons with 35-plus saves, becoming 5th pitcher to reach 400 mark. Finished big league career with 422 saves and a 2.31 ERA after playing collegiately at Division III level. Retired at the top of his game as one of only 2 pitchers ever to finish a career with a sub-1 whip in more than 500 innings.
Each year, our Hall of Fame inductees receive a unique ring that commemorates their induction. The ring recognizes each Hall of Famer with his last name, position, and year of induction. Billy, your Hall of Fame induction ring. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, Billy Wagner.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. What a humbling moment standing in front of my heroes on the ultimate stage as a former player representing Southwest Virginia and a small Division III school, Ferrum College. And it's nerve-wracking. But one of my former setup guys, Russ Springer, gave me some advice. He said, take a deep breath and remember all the times that he faced the 3, 4, 5 hitter so that I could blow away the 6, 7, 8 hitter. Teammates, right? Bullpen guys. Being up here today, I feel like my baseball life has come full circle. I was a fan before I could play, and back when baseball wasn't so available on TV, every Saturday morning, I watched Johnny Bench. And so many of the other greats on a show, The Baseball Bunch. Now here I am, standing among you. It's really hard to believe. I grew up listening to Braves broadcasters Skip Carey, as well as Pete Van Wiering, Don Sutton, and Joe Simpson. Along the way, the great Milo Hamilton called my games as an Astro. Then Chip Carey called my last game as a Brave, full circle. And now that my playing days are over, and I'm back to being a fan, but I'm lucky enough to be a fan with the inside view of this great game. A kid in a candy shop. This journey was shaped by my love of the game, by the lessons from the game, and by the love and support I got from my family, teammates, and coaches. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my Lord and Savior. Without you, amen. Without you, none of this would be possible. And with you, nothing is impossible. Not even a 5-foot nothing, 100-pound nothing, making the Hall of Fame. God is great. To the Hall of Fame staff, Jane, Whitney, Josh, John, thank you for making this experience comfortable and easy for me and my family. You have truly helped make this a memorable moment. To the Baseball Writers Association of America, thank you for recognizing the body of work, the grind, and the heart that I put into this game every single day. Jesus Ortiz, you've been in my corner through the ups and downs of my Hall of Fame process. I'll never forget your unbelievable support. I also want to congratulate my fellow inductees. CC, you competed with passion and power. Ichiro, your elegance and precision was like poetry in motion. I feel like we already have a special bond since being elected together in January. Dick and Dave, you were more than your numbers, though those speak for themselves. Dick was a trailblazer facing challenges most of us can't imagine. Dave brought strength and swagger during an era that demanded both. I'm honored to share this moment with your families and your legacies. Thank you. There are many to recognize today. First, I'd like to thank some teams, the Houston Astros, Drayton McLean, and the organization that took a chance on a small-town lefty with a big fastball and a chip on his shoulder. Thank you for believing in me, for giving me the opportunity to compete, and for letting me grow as a player and a person. And to Jim Crane, you throw a great party, who has continued to make me and my family feel welcome whenever we are in Houston. Thank you. To my Phillies, Bill Giles, Dave Montgomery gave me the opportunity to see what true passion looks like, both from the Phillies organization and their tremendous fans. Thank you. For a small-town guy like me going into a big city, Fred Wilpon and his son Jeff and the Mets organization made it easy to come to the field every day and compete because I got to ride in with Tom Glavine. They always had a great team surrounding me, and that helped me reach this stage today. Thank you, guys. The Braves organization made me a kid again, giving me the chance to play for my favorite team growing up. Playing under legendary manager Bobby Cox was the perfect ending to my career. Thank you, guys. But to be fair, there was a lot of coaches that gave me this opportunity. I was lucky to have an incredible coach in my early parts of my career, too, who shaped who I am today. Today wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Lou Peary. Lou, you showed me trust and love. I miss you more than anyone could imagine. Thank you for showing me and my Tazewell High Bulldog teammates the love of the game. Your grace on the field inspired me to be a coach. I love you. Rest in peace, Coach. Abe Naff, you gave me a hat and an opportunity. I still use those words today, coaching my team. Don't I, Mavericks? You made playing the game easy. Winning was the goal. Of all my coaches, you hated losing the most. You showed me that winning for our team was more important than winning for yourself. And we always had great teams with players like Eric Owens and many, many others that are here today. You gave me a home at Ferrum, and I thank you for our conversations about baseball, and about life. I love you, Coach. Thank you. And to my big league teammates, managers, coaches who had such an impact on my career. Lance Berkman, you are a Hall of Famer to me. You are one of the greatest to play the game, and I was happy to be your teammate. Your faith and never judgmental attitude helped keep me accountable with my faith. Thank you. I love you, brother. Moises Alou. Moises, you showed me how to appreciate Dominican culture. Even though I can't speak a lick of Spanish, I'm sorry. I try. Possibly the greatest teammate I ever had. You stood up for me in New York, and you kept me company after my surgery. I will never forget that you showed up even when you didn't have to. Thank you, mi pana. Who could have imagined when I debuted in 1995 I would take the field with two future Hall of Famers, and now I'm joining them. It was Craig Biggio. Bish, even though you whined and complained about pitchers, I still loved you. You brought consistency every day, and your competitive fire helped drive me to be my very best. Thank you. Baggy, where do I start? It wasn't your words. You are a man of few words. It was your look, your glare. That's what let everyone know if things were okay or if we needed to get our act together. I loved your grit. You taught me one of baseball's greatest lessons, how to show up and play after a bad day. No excuses. You showed me what a big leaguer looks like, and your friendship means the world to me. Thank you. The best part of my career was being part of the Astros organization with great players like all of you and countless others, including the great Octavio Dotel. Rest in peace, my friend. Some of the best relationships are the most unlikely ones, and every bullpen has them. For me, it was everyone from Mike Magnanti to Flash Gordon, then Jay Powell, Tim Worrell, old man Doug Henry, Russ Springer, Xavier Hernandez, Peter Moylan, Takashi Saito, Roberto Hernandez, and Brad Lidge. And my bullpen catchers always paid the price most of the time by catching me, so I need to recognize them. Stretch Suba and Mick Billmeyer. Thank you for holding the fort down, but thank you the most for holding leads in tight games and for giving up one with 4-run lead. Thank you. You guys are truly the best. No one who hasn't lived it will ever understand the camaraderie of a bullpen unit and what it takes day in and day out to compete. I love you all. I wouldn't be here today without my catchers. Brad Osmus, Tony Eusebio, Jerry Goff, Brian McCann, Randy Knorr, Paul LaDuca, Todd Pratt. There's so many. And you made me better and got me where I am today. Thank you. And my managers, Terry Collins, who called me up to start my first game that I never started because they needed an extra bullpen arm. It's hard to believe now, but I was a starting pitcher all through the minor leagues and never started a game in the big leagues. At the same time, I saved 422 games in the majors, but I never closed out a game in the minors. It was Larry Durker who saw that I could succeed as a closer. Thank you, Larry. And you don't get chances unless you have managers that trust you. And there was Jimmy Williams, Charlie Manuel, Jerry Manuel, Larry Boa, Willie Randolph, Tito Francona, and Bobby Cox. You all trusted me with the lead and gave me the confidence to go out every day and compete at the highest level. Thank you. to the pitching coaches, Charlie Taylor, Gary Lucas, Brent Strom, Vern Rule, Rick Peterson and John Farrell, Bert Hooten, Rich Doobie, Dan Worthen, and Roger McDowell. You were with me on the impossible journey of trying to perfect the craft of pitching. Now, as a high school coach, I understand the suffering and the reward that goes to helping others pursue the unattainable perfection. Thank you for your time and your patience and all your support, even when I made things difficult. Thank you so much. And to the fans, you're the heartbeat of this game. You shared my journey. Sorry. I think I've skipped. Sorry. All right, now I'm back. It's all sticky. Thank you for the cheers and for allowing me to play the greatest game in the world in front of the greatest people in the world. Without you, there are no memories, no milestones, no Hall of Fame. With all my heart, I am grateful to you. Thank you, guys. And to my family, Mom, Dad, you showed me what it meant to work hard, to stay humble, and to never let your circumstances define you. I love you. Aunt Sally, Uncle Jack, you stepped in when I needed you the most, with love and support through everything I faced. Rest in peace, Uncle Jack. I came to Jeff Lammy's family when I was 14 years old, and Jeff was a visual example that I needed to see how to be the best. You've always been a great role model, and I love you. To my kids, Will, Jeremy, Olivia, and Kason, you are my greatest joys. Whether it's on the sports field or off of it, I hope that the lessons of never giving up is the one that you take with you. No matter what you do or where your journey takes you, we are so proud of you, and we love you. And to my wife, Sarah, you are the rock of our family. You held it all together while I was chasing a dream. Thank you for your strength, your grace, and your love. I couldn't have done this without you. I love you. In conclusion, to every kid out there, this is my message to you. Obstacles are not a roadblock. Obstacles are stepping stones. They build you and shape you, refine you. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't left-handed. I wasn't supposed to be here. There were only 7 full-time relievers in the Hall of Fame. Now there are 8. Because I refused to give up or give in, I refused to listen to the outside critics, and I never stopped working. That's what this game does for you. It teaches you about life. It teaches you how to persevere. Don't fear failure. Embrace it. Because perseverance isn't just a trait, it's the path to greatness. Thank you to the Hall of Fame for the incredible honor. Thank you to my every teammate, every coach, every fan, every person who believes in me along the way. I am forever grateful. This game is more than numbers and metrics. It's winning the moment. It's being excited for your teammates when they succeed. It's being crushed when you don't come through in the clutch. It's knowing that there is always tomorrow. The love of the game has meaning. And it's not about salaries and rankings. It's about perseverance, passion, grit, and the pursuit of perfection. It's about the 1, 2, 3 inning, play to win, and let God take care of the rest. Thank you, and God bless.
Representing Dave this afternoon is his son, David Parker II. David, would you join me? As chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome Dave Parker into the Hall of Fame family and to ask Commissioner Manfred to please read the inscription on his plaque.
David Gene Parker, Cobra, Pittsburgh, NL, 1973 to 83, Cincinnati, NL, 1984 through 87, Oakland, AL, 1988 through 89, Milwaukee, AL, 1990, California, AL, 1991, Toronto, AL, 1991. Superstar outfielder, delivered on the confidence he brought to the ballpark, showcasing skills in every facet of the game. Over first 5 full seasons, 1975 through 1979, led NL in total bases and won back-to-back batting crowns, 1977-78, an MVP award, 1978, a World Series ring, 1979, 3 Gold Gloves, and All-Star MVP honors, 1979, following legendary display of powerful arm. Topped NL in total bases 3 times, including consecutive seasons in resurgence with Cincinnati, 1985 through 1986. Selected to 7 All-Star teams and twice named baseball's top designated hitter, including 1989 when he won a 2nd World Series with the A's.
You know how great a player is when the players he played against are huge fans of that player. And Dave Parker had so many fans that played in the big leagues against him because they were in awe of his talent.
Well, you do things that he does. Like I was just telling you, Greg, when he hit a home run, he put style into it. He started pointing like he was shooting guns off, you know. You had that. And this, the different things. I think of Don Mattingly. I put my bat and my hat in my back pocket because Donnie did. You know, so those are the things that Parker had happening as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Parker II.
Sorry about that. It's baking up here, so. Jeez. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking the staff, the National Baseball Hall of Fame, for bringing us together, celebrating not just 5 legendary players, but the game itself. I would also like to honor God and his internal guidance. Without none of this, it would have made none of it possible. My earliest memories are running up and down the baselines at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, which remains fresh in my mind as a young boy. A lot of players called him Pops, which of course what I would call him. Eric Davis, Barry Larkin, players that he played with in Cincinnati. I know my stats looked like everything would stop, and what the expert would say, when ancient YouTube videos show me in all the faded living color, well, I just want you to know, to all my Pittsburghs and all my Queen City brothers and sisters, Pop's journey up and down to California, to his 1 year in Milwaukee, every franchise cap that Dave Parker ever wore kept him warm and touched his soul. Even in Toronto, I asked him. He said, "I know I'm a Blue Jays legend, Dave Parker." Pops used to joke. For the minute my old teammate Cisco Gaskin called me on the phone, asking me to come up to Canada and help him win this thing, leading to my 6th and final sip of the crisp division win champagne. Even in Anaheim, especially Anaheim, I got to spend months with my all-star pal, Winnie. We finally experienced moments as teammates that we used to joke about all them during midsummer classics. Winnie, Pops, remembered every steak dinner on the road in '91 when y'all shared post-career dreams and plans. You affected Pop's life more than you'll ever know. Thank you. Even in Milwaukee, I asked my Pops. He said, I got to play with Robin Yount and Paul Molitor. Every night was an all-star game. I knew there'd be future Hall of Famers straight from the jump. I also found a dazzling rookie named Gary Sheffield, showing the league that he could be one of the best business. Brother Chef, Pop said, Pop said that you were a brilliant athlete who could become a brilliant and successful man. He was so proud of you. I didn't have to ask about Oakland. Pops told this one himself. 2 American League titles, 1 sparkling World Series ring, all those breakfasts with Dennis, those nights out on the town with Stewie and Ricky, my shopping buddy. Pops often recalled the first conversation with A's manager Tony La Russa when he was traded to Oakland. I don't care about all your numbers. I just want you here for the leadership. Teach these kids how to win. The man gave Pops a purpose beyond personal goals, and he never forgot that. Cincinnati, those astonishing rays of life bursting through the twilight of the career. Bob Hausman gave Pops a second chance in his hometown. From '84 to '87, Dave Parker spent hours upon hours teaching the inside baseball life to young Eric Davis. Brother E, you sure showed the league what baseball awesome looks like. One of the greatest players of the 1980s. Pops loved telling stories and visiting the Silverton home on College Hill and the shortstop named Barry Larkin, convincing him to play in our fine Queen City. Hall of Famer Mr. Larkin needs no introduction, but Pops always said Brother Barry is a fine human being as he was a shortstop. I know how much Dave Parker savored his role as a spiritual father to these young men. Cincinnati is our home. Cincinnati is our home. I grew up there. Pops grew up there, went to school there, worked out at Crosley Field for years, slinging lemonade at hot dog stands, hitting countless balls in the Mill Creek. Dave Parker's affection for the franchise spent decades from Bob Housen and Bob Castellini, Rick Walls at the Reds Hall of Fame, everyone who works at Great American Ballpark, the fans, oh, of course, and yes, the fans. You should see the smile on their faces whenever people approached us, entering the Grader's Ice Cream or at Montgomery Inn. You got a lot of fans, Pops, I would say to him. Often growing up, my father would just shake his head pleasantly. They ain't fans, son. They're friends, forever friends. No doubt the most inside Dave Parker's body also bleeds Cincinnati red, a bottomless well of affection for my hometown people. Today, Dave Parker is entering the Hall of Fame as a Pittsburgh Pirate. That's right, the Burr, the Bucks. We would drive into town for the weekend events at the stadium, autograph things, meet and greets. We shoot through the Fort Pitt Tunnel, get with the blast of daylight overlooking the majestic rivers. We often see billboards and installations celebrating Pittsburgh's cultural history. Pops love to say, man, you see these legends? I see old friends. You pass a restaurant, I know Dick Permini. You pass a jazz mural, I know Walt Harper. You pass the WQED building, I know Fred Rogers. Pops knew a lot of people. Roberto Clemente taught me how to love like a Major League Baseball player. These 4 men, nurtured in the Pirates organization, installed the very highest concern for others. Doc Ellis, Willie Stargell, Al Oliver, some of the people that I'm talking about. Dr. Doe, Pops would never worry about you because you were always the smartest one in the room. You always knew the score on and off the field. Baseball brought you both together, but life and love kept you tight in all these years. The Pittsburgh general manager, Joe L. Brown, chose Dave Parker, an injured high school football player in June 1970, from the draft, and encouraged him throughout his years in the fall system. He managed. Danny Murtaugh and Chuck Tanner provided the room to blossom and achieve great things. I know my pops is so touched in how the Steel City fans have welcomed him back. Each and every one of you meant the world to him. Yes, Dave Parker is a Bucko. Dave Parker achieved legendary things as a Bucko, and he holds the organization close to his heart, from Bob Nunning, the late, great Charlie Muse, and everyone today at PNC Park. Through all the individual teams and accomplishments he enjoyed during the 11 seasons with Pittsburgh, in the moments surrounded by his teammates and mentors, that meant the most to my dad. Pops wanted to say that this honor would have never happened if it weren't for the efforts of so many other folks in his personal life. He wanted to thank Coach Harry and Mrs. Helen Kugel, his high school educators, who kept his eyes on the prize during the darkest teenage years of serious injury and family loss. We want to thank Sam Reach, the late Tom Reach, and Barry Meister, his agents, close advisors, for handling all the details off the field during his career. He loved you, gentlemen. We will want to acknowledge Joe Leo and Mark Goodhart, who have dedicated so much personal passion to Dave Parker. Thanks for having Pops back mostly all these years, and I really appreciate you. I treat you men like family. We also want to thank Doug King and Teresa King for keeping the flame alive of the Dave Parker 39 Foundation. Our annual golf outing will be successful without Teresa managing every detail, and Doug. You've been such a wonderful and confident person to Pops, and such a critical part of pushing us all forward and finding a cure for Parkinson's disease. We ain't there yet, but we're gonna get there one day. We also like to thank Charlie Frank from the Cincinnati Reds Community Fund and all his work in supporting Major League Baseball RBI program and the Reds Urban Academy, as we brought together thousands of youth kids through hundreds of clinics and events to allow the next generation to enjoy, love, and appreciate baseball. Dave Parker always wanted to write a book, waited decades for the writer to tell his story the right way, and along came Dave Jordan, DJ as I would call him, who always came to town on a moment's notice, away for his family, to help Pop set the record straight, to tell the tale in poetic and wild fashion. Pops said you got to finish up the second book, so DJ, you're on speed dial, brother. To Uncle Jimmy and Uncle Lonnie, you and Pops have been through thick and thin together, even every up and down, and always at the moment of the sad, no matter what. Pops loves you both, and I love you the same. Pops wanted to say to my 6 darling children, 13 grandchildren, and 4 beautiful great-grandchildren, you are the true achievement of my life, and warmth, love, and affection that each of you bring when we're together keep me going through daily. I love you so much. For my mom, Pops, my dearest Kelly, my wife, my happily ever after, the one who when the leaves turn brown, did everything in her power to keep me around. I love you so much, baby. Thank you for all the good things in my life. Pops played 3 sports in high school. Basketball kept him busy in the winter. Football was his job, but baseball was his love, more than other sports. Baseball, a cultural traditions passed down over generations, from mamas to sons, daddies to daughters, standing on the baseball fields, from Shea Stadium to Chavez Ravine, the small hot dog stands, fresh cut grass, and spilled beer away reminded Pops of his youthful American career. It was a perfect America, but it was his, and it's always made him feel like a 17-year-old high school catcher, watching from the stands, learning how to frame pitchers like Johnny Bench. My father, Dave Parker, passed away last month at the age of 74, working on this speech during his final weeks. Pops wanted me to leave everyone with this poem that he wrote, that he gave me a long time ago. And he said if he ever made it here, to read it. So that's what I'm about to do. Here I am, 39, about damn time. I know I had to wait a little, but that's what you do with fine age wine. I'm a pirate for life. Wouldn't have it no other way. That was my family, even though I didn't go on parade day. I love y'all. The Bucks own my heart because those 2 championships I got, y'all played in the first part. I'm in the hall now. You can't take that away. That statue better look good. You know I got a pretty face. Top tier athlete, fashion icon, sex symbol. No reason to list the rest of my credentials. I'm him, period, the Cobra. Known for my rocket arm, and I will run any catcher over. To my friends, families, I love y'all. Thanks for staying by my side. I told y'all Cooperstown would be my last ride. So the Star of Day will be in the sky tonight. Watch it glow. But I didn't lie. On my documentary, I told you I wouldn't show. Thank you.
Ten out of 10.
Wow.
A 10 out of 10. Dave Parker II. Reading a poem at the end on behalf of his late father, Dave Parker. That was incredible.
Man, that was awesome.
As chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor to welcome Dick into the Hall of Fame family and to ask Commissioner Manfred to read the inscription on his plaque.
Richard Anthony Allen, Dick, Philadelphia, NL, 1963 through 69, 1975 through 76. St. Louis, NL, 1970. Los Angeles, NL, 1971. Chicago, AL, 1972 through 74. Oakland, AL, 1977. Fearlessly wielded a 42-ounce bat with presence and style, combining plate discipline and power to become one of the game's most intimidating hitters during a notorious pitcher's era. Earned 1964 NL Rookie of the Year honors with Phillies after leading league in runs, triples, and total bases during his first of 9 straight seasons with at least 20 long balls. Reinvigorated White Sox with 1972 AL MVP campaign tallying league best totals in home runs, RBI, and walks. Corner infielder, led his league in homers twice, in OPS 4 times, and was a 7-time All-Star.
Ladies and gentlemen, Willa Allen.
Good afternoon, baseball fans. First, I want to congratulate the incredible members of the 2025 Hall of Fame class. And to Kelly and the family of Dave Parker, please accept our heartfelt condolence. Dave was a remarkable man and a phenomenal ball player. I know Dick would honor to share this moment with them. I also want to express our sincere thanks to James Forbes Clark, Josh, John, Whitney, Tom, and every member of the Hall of Fame team. You have made our families feel welcome, respected, and at home, and we will never forget that. On behalf of the entire Allen family, his brother Ron and wife Marthella, his sons Richard and Aaron, my button, his grandson Trey's mother Lasada, and my 11 siblings. We are so thrilled to be here today to officially celebrate the induction of Richard Anthony Allen into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. We called him Dick. And although he is not physically here to accept the honor, I assure you he is with us. He is with the 350 family members and friends here today who have come to honor his life, his legacy, and the love of the game. And I know he is smiling right now, knowing that his story is finally being recognized in this very special way. To many of us, Dick was already a Hall of Famer, not just for how he played, but for who he was. Yes, he was one of the most natural gifted hitters to ever step into the batter's box, and who could forget his 40-ounce bat? But his statistics, impressive as they are, tell only part of the story, and I have hundreds of stories. There are moments he might have thought were small, but those moments left a lasting impression on the people around him. Dick didn't just give his time or his money, he gave his heart. Whether it was visiting a teammate in the hospital, or standing up for someone who didn't have a voice, or just writing a note to a fan. He was always there, quietly, strongly, and sincerely. Let me share a story that has always stayed with me, one that shows the kind of man Dick was. It was 1971, just after a game at Dodger Stadium. As Dick was leaving, a 16-year-old boy stood outside patiently waiting. As Dick walked by, the young man cried out, "Mr. Allen, can I have your autograph?" Dick stopped, looked at him with a familiar smile and said, "Son, I'd rather shake your hand." The young boy eagerly replied, "Yes, sir." What happened next turned into something unforgettable. They stood there, just the two of them, for 2 full hours. Dick didn't rush, he didn't wave him off. He stayed, he listened, he shared. That night, a friendship began. Dick often invited the young man to the clubhouse to meet the other players. On occasion, he brought him back to the ballpark to play catch in the bullpen. That season, Dick spent hours with him, showing him different kinds of food, introducing him to people he respected, even taking him to the racetrack to meet his horses and friends. He affectionately nicknamed the boy Baby Bruh, a name that young man still uses today when he speaks of Dick Allen. And now, over 50 years later, that once teenager is 70 years old and here today in Cooperstown to honor the man who changed his life with kindness. That was Dick. He was devoted to people, not just fans, but especially his teammates. If he heard someone was sick or going through a tough time, he'd turn to me and say, "Willa, they have to hear from us. Let's send a card or write a letter. We have to let them know we're here." He remembered everyone's birthday, not just the players, but their parents and their children. He knew the children's name, what sport they played, what their dreams were, and long after these teammates left the field, Dick would still talk about them, proud of their children who made it into basketball or basketball or music. He loved the game, but more than that, he loved the people in it. Baseball was his first love. He used to say, "I'd have played for nothing," and I believe he meant it. But of course, if you compare today's salary, he played almost for nothing. For Dick, the fans meant everything. He always wanted to show them, especially the young ones, that it's not about where you come from, but where you're determined to go. He came out of Wampum, Pennsylvania. It's a town with no more than 1,200 people, and yet Major League Baseball found him. When he was just a child, his teacher asked the class what they wanted to be when they grew up. Dick stood up and said, "I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player." Then he sat down. The other kids laughed because at that time, there weren't any black players in the Major League. But he didn't laugh. He believed it. And now, look at him. To the young players who came after him, Dick always tried to offer something more than advice. He wanted to give them perspective. He would say, baseball isn't a job, it's a gift, a tool to express your talent, a chance to enjoy the game, and a responsibility to do your best, not just to play, but to win. He was obsessed with understanding the why a game was lost, why a play didn't work. He always said, there's a game within the game. And he'll break it down with his teammates, helping them to see what others missed. He believed in lifting each other up and making the team better together. But Dick's heart extended far beyond the dugout. His favorite people at the ballpark weren't always the ones in the spotlight. It was the ground crew, the cooks in the kitchen, the clubhouse staff, the vendors, the custodians. Whenever we were invited to events at the ballpark, before we ever reported to where we had to be, he had to greet every one of them. He had to see all of them every time. And when he saw something wasn't right, he didn't stay quiet. If players of color didn't have proper supplies in the clubhouse, he spoke up. If a teammate wasn't paid fairly, he would say something. Once he even said, he told the manager, "Well, give them some of mine." That's who he was. He had a deep respect for elders, especially seniors. If he knew someone was living alone or just needed company, he invited them over for dinner, for the weekend, for a drive to a concert or a ball game. And sometimes he'd send me, most of the time. Back then, they were the same age I am now, so they don't seem so old. And the fans, the heartbeat of baseball. From Philly to Chicago, from St. Louis to LA, and the Bay Area to his hometown of Wampum, Pennsylvania, you stood by him. You cheered for him. You saw him even when the press didn't, even when the politics of the game were against him. You showed him he mattered, and he never forgot that. While Dick played for 5 major teams during his career, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the White Sox, the Athletic, and the Phillies, there was no question about where his heart truly lived. Philadelphia was his favorite. He loved the city, He loved the energy, and most of all, yes, he loved the fans. When he returned to Philly in 1975, he told me that the 1976 team was the best he'd ever played on. It wasn't just a reunion, it was a homecoming. And the Phillies made sure he knew how much he meant to them, in a way that most players never experience unless they're already in the Hall of Fame. In 2020, under the leadership of John Middleton, the Philadelphia Phillies did something extraordinary. They retired Dick's number 15, a gesture typically reserved for those already in Cooperstown. But they knew, as we did, that Dick's legacy transcended technicalities. I'll never forget that day Mike Tolan called the house and said, "We need to speak to Dick. John is on the line." I put it on speaker. John said, "Dick, we're going to retire your number." Dick looked confused for a moment and said, "What number?" I jumped in, "Number 15. There was a long pause, and then he simply said, "Thank you. I really appreciate it." And that was it. No big speech, no long reply, just quiet gratitude. The Phillies moved quickly to make it happen on the 57th anniversary of his Major League debut. No one knew that Dick only had 4 months to live. Dick had a beautiful speech written with the help of Andy Woodley, but when the day came, he couldn't deliver it. The illness had quietly affected his body and his brain, and he was just too tired. But he stood up anyway and spoke from his heart, and honestly, that was more than enough. That day in Philadelphia meant everything to him and to our family. It was a moment we'll never forget. To see Dick recognized in that way while he was still alive. To feel the love from Philadelphia, the organization and the fans, that was a gift. And even now, the Phillies continue to honor his life and legacy. I know Dick sees what you're doing, and he's smiling. To the Chicago White Sox, Dick found a place where he could truly express himself as a leader, as a teacher, and as a fierce competitor. Chicago embraced him not only for his talent, but for his heart. The love he felt from the South Side gave him strength to give 110% every game. And in return, he gave the fans one of the most iconic MVP seasons in baseball history. To the St. Louis Cardinals, Dick always said you were a first-class organization. Playing in St. Louis was an honor for him, especially because it meant sharing the field with one of his all-time favorite players, Mr. Bob Gibson. The fans in St. Louis were electric. Every time he stepped to the plate, the cheers made him feel like he could light up the ballpark, and most nights he did. To the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dick had a long dream of wearing that uniform. The Dodgers represented more than baseball. They represented courage, change, and history. Because of Jackie Robinson, because of the team's willingness to break the barriers, Dick always felt a connection to the Dodgers. Being a part of that legacy, even for a season, meant something deeply personal to him. And to the Oakland A's, though it came during the twilight of his career, it was still baseball, and Dick never took that for granted. Even though his team with the A's was brief, he cherished the friendship that were formed, the clubhouse conversation, and the opportunity to be part of a game he loved right up to the end. His story is not just about home runs or rewards. It's about principle, compassion, unwavering determination. That is what carried him through every challenge and every triumph. Today, his name is enshrined among the greatest to ever play the game. And I know beyond all the applause, Dick would want this moment to inspire others to play with passion, to live with heart, and to always be true to yourself. Thank you for honoring Dick. Thank you for believing in him, and thank you for finally bringing him home. Thank you.
As chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor, Cece, to welcome you into the Hall of Fame family and ask Commissioner Manfred to please read the inscription on your plaque.
Karsten Charles Sabathia, CC, Cleveland AL 2001 through 2008, Milwaukee NL 2008, New York AL 2009 to 19. Unrelenting ace was the rock of three franchises' staffs, delivering each to the postseason. Selected as 2007 AL Cy Young Award winner in Cleveland before carrying 2008 Brewers to October with an NL high 7 complete games in a half season. Led Yankees to 2009 World Series title with league-leading 19 wins, starting Game 1 of all 3 postseason series and earning ALCS Most Valuable Player honors. 6-time All-Star, won 251 games, reached the 200 innings mark in 8 seasons, and finished in the top 5 of Cy Young Award voting 5 times. Became 3rd left-handed member of 3,000 Strikeout Club.
Cece, at this time, I would like to present you with your Hall of Fame induction ring. I'll go to pictures with the ring.
You know, a unique moment there for Commissioner Rob Manfred, reading the plaque of not just a Hall of Famer, but now a personal friend in CC Sabathia.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, CC Sabathia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to Jane Forbes Clark. Thank you to the baseball writers. Thank you to the fans out there. And thank you most of all to the great players sitting behind me. I am so proud and humbled to join you as a Hall of Famer. Even Ichiro, who stole my Rookie of the Year award in 2001. The list of people who deserve my thanks is very long, and you'll hear from me personally. Today, I thought I would tell a few stories. Plenty of men taught me about baseball and life, beginning with my dad, Corky. In the years he was missing from my life, my uncle Edwin Sabathia stepped up. And it was Abe Hobbs, the Vallejo High baseball coach, who taught me how to hit the ball the other way, who drove me to Dusty Baker's baseball camp, and who opened my eyes about the Negro Leagues and Jackie Robinson. No one has more fun hanging out with the fellas than me. But I've been blessed to have so many wise and caring women in my life. Growing up, there was my aunts, Gloria Rufus and Denise Jones, Sharon Sabathia and Jeannie Sabathia. There was Jennifer Austin, Carmen Merriman, Gwen Lake, Ophelia Wells, Hazel Wilson, and especially my grandmother, Eltha Rufus. My granny's house was my home base and safe place. I spent a lot of nights there and ate a lot of her red beans and rice and plum jelly that I would eat straight out of the jar. My granny had a huge grapefruit tree in her backyard. When I was young, I would collect the ones that fell, line them up, and throw them at a folding chair as my strike zone. That was the first time I realized I could throw hard. As a teenager, when I wanted to get a job in Marine World, my granny said, no, focus on baseball. You'll be lucky to have even one of those women in your life, and I've had them all. A village of women who raised me, guided me, made me laugh, fed me, protected me, and a few times literally saved me. Starting with my mom, Margie. When I was 12 years old, I was becoming a pretty good ball player. One All-Star game, I threw a no-hitter and struck out 17 of the 18 batters. Back then, my dad was constantly telling my mom, he's going to the big leagues. And my mom would reply, quit saying that, let him be, he needs to stay humble. But my mom loved the game too. When I was young, she put on the catcher's gear so I could throw in the backyard. And years later, after my starts in Cleveland, we would sit in the garage and talk pitch selection. My mom is here today, just like she's always been there for me. That hasn't always been easy. My parents split up when I was about 12 years old. My mom worked nights at Travis Air Force Base, and as much as we struggled through painful losses that took family and friends away from us too soon, my mom kept going. From her, I learned that if we are here, if we are breathing, if we are standing, we can get through it. There's always something on the other side of the storm. Fortunately, it hasn't been all drama. When I was a kid, my mom loved Ken Griffey Jr. That's why we went to the Oakland Coliseum whenever the Mariners played the A's. My mom is the reason I'm a baseball fan. And fans turn into players who sometimes turn into Hall of Famers. I can still name the whole lineup from the 1989 World Champion A's in my sleep. At DH was Dave Parker. I know we all wish he was here with us today. It's an extra honor to be a part of Dave's Hall of Fame class. He was the Cobra, but also became Pops, a father figure to a generation of black stars. In the 80s and early 90s, when I first started watching baseball and Dave Parker was crushing homers, the number of black players in the major leagues was at its highest, about 18%. Me and my friends played the game because we saw those guys on TV. There was always somebody who looked like me in a baseball uniform. Baseball has always been a great game for black athletes, but baseball culture has not always been great for black people. Through the Players Alliance and our work with the Commissioner's Office and the CAP program, I hope we're starting to turn that around. I don't want to be the final member of the Black Aces, a black pitcher to win 20 games in the big leagues. And I don't want to be the final black pitcher standing here giving a Hall of Fame speech. Maybe part of the answer is more agents like my wife, Amber. The first time we met was at a house party when I was a junior in high school. We spent the whole night talking, and that conversation has been going on for 29 years now. From the beginning, Amber told me when I was being stupid. She never lied to me. She keeps things real, she keeps things real out of love, not out of games or anger. As a rookie in Burlington, North Carolina, I was so raw, Carl Willis had to teach me the right place to stand on the rubber and the right way to hold a four-seamer. I was so homesick that I would go to a phone booth every night and call home. I would have quit right then if I could have kept my money and my mom and Amber didn't spend all night talking me through my fears. When I made my first start in Cleveland, Amber was there wearing a number 52 jersey. We loved Cleveland. I always say, I was born and raised in Vallejo, but Cleveland is where I grew up. It's where we got married. 3 out of our 4 children were born there, and my biggest regret in baseball is not winning a championship for the fans in Cleveland. Amber was there in Milwaukee, pregnant, when I was first traded and nervous to start with a new team. She was there when I rode into rehab drunk. She was there a month later when I walked out sober. I know I'm super difficult to be around sometimes, and I've tested her patience and love too many times, but she knows how to navigate me like no one else does, and I always say she's the only human I can be around every single day. I loved playing in Cleveland and Milwaukee, but when it was time to go somewhere new, I thought I wanted to go to LA and play for the Dodgers close to home. I definitely didn't want to go to New York and play for the Yankees, the furthest team away. Winning mattered and money made a difference, but my free agent decision was really about where we were going to spend our lives. We said to ourselves, we'll play anywhere on the planet as long as our family is together. When Amber and I were kids, things in our family were inconsistent. Now we had 3 kids of our own, and we wanted to plant roots. That's what we talked about. That's how we made the best decision we ever made. 11 months later, she was there in the Bronx as we won the 2009 World Series. Amber and I have always been we. We picked the Yankees. We bought a house in New Jersey. 17 years later, that's where we still live. It's where we raised a family. When I wrote my book, I dedicated it to our children because that's still our biggest accomplishment to this day. The best part of being retired is watching what our kids do. Watching Lil C develop into a man and a ball player at the University of Houston has been amazing. Jaden is on her way to her career in arts management, so we help her study by going to Broadway shows together. And I've seen Saya win two national dance championships, making me a dance dad. And I always say, if my life was a movie, she'd be the main character. And Carter just got home from the Hank Aaron invitation on Vero Beach. We're somewhere every weekend. It's insane, and I love it. In January, I was sitting on our couch next to our house. I was sitting on our couch in our house when Amber's phone rang. The Hall of Fame knew to call her. I'm known not to answer a call or a text. Yeah, I had been watching the tracker for months, and things looked good. But when we got the news that day, I was in shock. The room was cheering, and I was just sitting there until Jaden gave me a hug and snapped me out of the daze. The next day, we drove up to Cooperstown, me behind the wheel, Amber in the front passenger seat like always. It's been a long road from Vallejo, California, and I wouldn't have made it all this way without the women redirecting me when I got lost. Tonight, tell your grannies, your moms, your aunts, your sisters, your wives, your girlfriends, and your daughters how much you love and appreciate them. Thank you, Baseball Hall of Fame, for making the Sabathias a part of your family.
And as chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it is my honor, Ichiro, to welcome you into the Hall of Fame family and to ask Commissioner Manford to please read the inscription on your plaque.
Ichiro Suzuki, Seattle, AL, 2001 through 12, 2018 through 19. New York, AL, 2012 to 14, Miami, NL, 2015 to 17. With extraordinary work ethic and unparalleled bat control, brought record-setting hit totals to Major League Baseball as its first Japanese-born position player. Electrified 2001 Mariners to record 116-win campaign, earning AL Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player honors. The only player with 10 straight 200-hit campaigns, 2001 through 2010, set all-time single-season hits record with 262 in 2004. An all-star and gold glove outfielder throughout his first decade in the majors, led AL in hits 7 times. Won 2 AL batting titles after capturing 7 consecutive in Japan. Totaled 3,089 MLB hits and 509 stolen bases.
At this time, I would like to present you with your Hall of Fame ring. for photos.
Tom, I can't imagine the country of Japan. He's going to be inducted into their Hall of Fame in about a month, but he's the first Japanese-born and raised position player ever to appear in an MLB game, and he exceeded all expectations.
So much pride for that country, and there had been so much pressure on Ichiro when he came here in 2001 because of that. Ichiro wound up playing 28 professional seasons between Japan and MLB. Just remarkable.
Ladies and gentlemen, member of the class of 2025, Hall of Famer Ichiro Suzuki.
Thank you. Today, I am feeling something I thought I would never know again. For the third time, I am a rookie. First, in 1992, after the Oryx Blue Wave drafted me out of high school. Then, in 2001, I became a rookie again at 27, when the Seattle Mariners signed me. As I look over here now and see men like Rod Carew, George Brett, and Tony La Russa, I realize I'm a rookie again. Thank you for welcoming me so warmly into your great team. I hope I can uphold the values of the Hall of Fame. But please, I am 51 years old now, so easy on the hazing. I don't need to wear a Hooters uniform again. The first two times, it was easier to manage my emotions because my goal was always clear: to play professionally at the highest level. This time is so different because I could never imagine as a kid in Japan that my play would lead me to a sacred baseball land that I didn't even know was here. People often measure me by my records: 3,000 hits, 10 gold gloves, 10 seasons of 200 hits. Not bad, huh? But the truth is, without baseball, you would say, this guy's such a dumbass. I have bad teammates, right? Bob Costas. Baseball is so much more than just hitting, throwing, and running. Baseball taught me to make value decisions about what is important. It helps shape my view of life and the world. As a kid, I thought I could play baseball forever. The older I got, I realized the only way to keep playing the game I love until 45 at the highest level was to dedicate myself to it completely. When fans use their precious time to come watch you play, you have a responsibility to perform for them. Whether we are winning by 10 or losing by 10, I felt my duty was to motivate it the same from opening day through game 162. I never started packing my equipment or taping boxes until after the season's final out. I felt it was my professional duty to give fans my complete attention each and every game. Fans deserve to be entertained whenever they choose to come. Baseball taught me what it means to be a professional, and I believe that is the main reason I am here today. Not because my skills are better than others. 3,000 hits or 262 hits in one season are achievements recognized by the writers. Well, all but one of you. And by the way, the offer for that writer to have dinner at my home has now expired. I could not have achieved the numbers the writers recognized me for without paying attention to the many small details every single day, consistently for all 19 seasons. I personally cared for my equipment each day because I never wanted to risk a fielding error due to a loose string on my glove or a slip on the base pass because I didn't clean my spikes. Beyond the regular season, I had a serious routine in the off-season too. When I showed up at the camp each spring, my arm was already in shape, waiting for Mariners broadcaster Rick Ritz to say, "Holy smoke, a laser beam strike from Ichiro!" If you consistently do the little things, there's no limit what you can achieve. Look at me. I'm 5'11" and 170 pounds. When I came to America, many people said I was too skinny to compete with bigger major leaguers. The first time I ran out on the field, I was in awe of the competition. But I knew if I stuck to my beliefs about preparation, I could overcome the doubts, even my own. I have been asked, what's the best thing you can do for your team? My answer is taking responsibility for yourself. Being responsible for yourself means answering to yourself. When you go home at night and wonder why you didn't get a hit or you didn't make a catch, the honest answer is not because a great pitcher beat you or a tough sun was in your eyes. It's because there was something you could have done better. By taking responsibility for yourself, you support your teammates and you don't cheat the fans. As a kid, my dream was always to be a professional baseball player. I even wrote an essay about it when I was in grade 6. If I could rewrite that essay today with what I know now, I would use the word goal instead of dream. Dreams are not always realistic, but goals can be possible if you think deeply about how to reach them. Dreaming is fun, but goals are difficult and challenging. It's not enough to say, I want to do something. If you are serious about it, you must think critically about what is necessary to achieve it. I wrote that daily practice and preparation were important to become a professional player. As I continued to set my goals, I also came to understand that consistency would be the foundation to achievement. I encourage young players to dream and dream big, but also to understand the difference between a dream and a goal. In order to make your dream your goal, you must be honest in thinking about what is important to achieve it. In that essay, I wrote that I dreamed of playing for my hometown, Chunichi Dragons. I knew nothing about American baseball then. I simply loved baseball and wanted to play it wherever I could at the highest level for the rest of my life. I achieved the first part of my goal when Oryx drafted me. I won the batting title in my first full year and each year after that when I played in Japan. From the outside, it may have seemed like everything was smooth and I should have no worries. However, inside, I was struggling to understand why I was making results. I was searching for something that I could not find. In the middle of my internal struggle, something historic happened. Hideo Nomo became the first major leaguer from Japan in my lifetime. His success inspired many, including me. Thanks to him, MLB was always in the news in Japan, and MLB games were broadcast on TV because of Hideo Nomo's courage. My eyes suddenly opened to the idea of challenging myself by going somewhere I never imagined. 野茂さん、ありがとうございました。I am grateful to the Oryx Blue Wave for allowing me to challenge myself in MLB. I am also grateful to the Seattle Mariners for believing that I could become the first position player from Japan in American baseball. I have been in love with Seattle and the Mariners ever since. Thank you, Seattle. I am thrilled that this great honor reunites me with the general manager who signed me, Pat Gillick. Thank you to Pat and the owners and the executives back then. Hiroshi Yamauchi, Howard Lincoln, Chuck Armstrong, and the rest of the Mariners team. To current executives, John Stanton, Jerry DiPoto, Kevin Martinez, and the rest. Thank you for bringing me back to the place I belonged and allowing me to make Seattle my permanent home. It's an honor to be on a new team with Edgar and Junior and Randy. Thank you guys for coming today. Thank you to the New York Yankees. I know you guys are really here today for Sissy. But that's okay. He deserves your love. I enjoyed my 2.5 years in Pinstripes, and I thank you for letting me experience the great leadership of Derek Jeter and your organization's proud culture. And to the Miami Marlins, I appreciate David Sampson and Mike Hill for coming today. Honestly, when you guys called to offer me a contract for 2015, I have never heard of your team. But I came to love my time in South Florida. Even in my mid-40s, I grew as a player, surrounded by all those young, talented teammates. the way they jumped out of the dugout in Colorado to celebrate my 3,000th hit is something I will never forget. Their happiness to share that moment with me was so genuine and sincere. Thank you for giving me the chance to reach 3,000 hit as a Marlin and with those teammates. To my agents, whose importance to me has been more than just business. Sadly, Tony Atanasio passed away before he could know of this moment. I thank him for getting me to America and for teaching me to love wine. and to John Boggs, who believed I could still play at 42 and has been passionate towards my career ever since. Thank you to my longtime interpreter, Alan Turner, and his family for supporting me wherever I decided to play. Thank you also to Jane, Josh, Chester, Whitney, and the entire Hall of Fame staff. And of course, to Jeff Idelson. Without you, I would have never come to appreciate this incredible institution. Congratulations to Cece, Billy, Dave Parker, Dick Allen, Tom Hamilton, and Thomas Boswell. I think you can imagine there was much doubt when I decided to try becoming the first position player from Japan in MLB. But it was more than just doubt. There was criticism and negativity. Someone even said to me, "Don't embarrass the nation." The person who supported me the most was my wife, Yumiko. It would only be natural if she had doubts too, but she never made me feel them. All of her energy was focused on supporting and encouraging me. For 19 seasons in Seattle, New York, and Miami, she made sure that our home was always happy and positive. I tried to be consistent as a player, but she's the most consistent teammate I ever had. Shortly after I retired, Yumiko and I had a date night. We did something we had never been able to do while I was a player. We sat in the stands and enjoyed a Mariners game together. We did it the American way by eating hot dogs. Of all the experiences baseball has given me, enjoying a hot dog at a game with the person most responsible for helping me reach this moment is the most special. Going into America's Baseball Hall of Fame was never my goal. I didn't even know there was one until I visited Cooperstown for the first time in 2001. But being here today sure feels like a fantastic dream. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the National Baseball Hall of Fame, class of 2025.